First, the disclaimer. For me, of course, it is difficult to see how the manager often manage their company, because I'm not in there. And of course, much of the communication goes in Korean, so I wouldn't even see it in the room when they communicate with their team members. And then I think that we just have a country with a large variety of different leaders. We should not forget this country has achieved with a spirit of leadership in 70 years things that other countries have not achieved in 100 years. So there has been a very strong leadership in the reconstruction time. And I see often comparisons to German leaders after the Second World War, so we kind of started 10 years earlier, that build up companies from the scratch after this destruction of the Second World War, like the Korean leaders. And often it were very strong leaders, very focused and totally committed to grow the country, to grow the company within the country and growing the company with the country together. So I think this is very, very important to see, and I must say lots of respect for these leaders that did this. And then today we see, of course, many leaders that the second and third generation, and they are trained differently. They often have gone perhaps to the US or have experience by having studied in Germany or in Europe, in different countries. And so I see a change. However, I think in general, still we can say often companies are much more hierarchic, very much focused on one leader in the company, more and more the pyramid system. Perhaps it's also more difficult here to work in hubs without a clear hierarchy, clusters, assigning persons for different tasks. I think this is a little bit more difficult than what I've seen in other countries so far. But once again, there's the disclaimer. Of course, I'm not within the company itself. So I think, yeah, there are different styles, and I think we see a lot of change also now after the pandemic. Of course, we know that with a strong hierarchy, clear decision-making process, it is good to get things implemented, and you need someone who decides, and then you have a very good effect to re-steer the company, and which we have seen. I mean, there have been very strong Korean companies to adjust, although kind of, they are big ships, but there's a decision on the top, and you get it triples down very, very fast. So this is, I think, one aspect. On the other side, I think today, even very good leaders, they cannot know everything. And this is part of what I said as well. You need this situation of self-reflection and reassessing, and you need good people around you, good advisors. And I think this is important, that you involve people in the decision-making process and ask many people. That might sometimes take a little bit longer. However, it helps you to avoid then steering perhaps too quickly in one direction, which is not good. And besides this, many companies are consumer-oriented, companies that cater to the consumers. And we should not forget that these companies have often thousands of consumers which actually work for themselves. So why not getting them much more involved? And this is kind of the side of decision-making process. The second aspect is, when you look for skilled workers today, you have to be an attractive company. And I see, when you look on the surveys, an attractive company for young people is a company where they have a say and where they get involved. So this helps as well to get new talents to the company. So it's not only for decision making, for better decision making, but it's also for getting new talents in there.